All right, let's dive into something that's happening inside you right now, this very second. It's this invisible, high stakes balancing act. I'm talking about fluid balance. It's this constant, incredible process that is, no exaggeration, absolutely essential for keeping you alive. Have you ever really thought about that? What's going on when you suddenly feel thirsty? Or why an IV drip can literally be a lifesaver? Well, the answer to both questions is the same: fluid balance. See, thirst is like your body's built-in alarm system, and an IV drip, that's the high-tech tool we use to restore order when things get critically out of whack. So today, we're going to break down exactly how this system works, from the tiniest cell all the way up to those life-saving treatments. Okay, first things first, we need a map. Let's figure out the geography of all this. Your body basically has two main neighborhoods where it stores all its water. And trust me, understanding the border between these two spots is the key to, well, everything else we're about to talk about. So the biggest neighborhood by a long shot is what we call intracellular fluid, or ICF for short. The name kind of gives it away, right? Intra means within, and cellular means cell. This is the liquid that's inside every single one of your trillions of cells. It's where all the magic happens, all the chemical reactions that literally make you, well, you. Now, everything that's not inside a cell, that's called extracellular fluid, or ECF. Again, the name helps. Extra means outside. This includes the plasma in your blood, we call that intravascular fluid, and also the fluid that's just kind of hanging out between your cells, bathing them. That's called interstitial fluid. The crucial thing to get here is that these two big compartments, the inside and the outside, are always talking to each other. It's a constant, dynamic conversation. So we know where the fluids live, but how do they and all the important stuff dissolved in them actually get from one place to another? How do they cross that border between the inside and the outside? Well, it's not random at all. It's actually a super tightly regulated process, and it all comes down to two main rules of transport. The big difference, the main thing to remember, is energy. Think of it like this. Passive transport is like floating down a river. You just go with the flow, right? It doesn't take any effort. It follows the natural path from a crowded area to a less crowded one. Active transport, on the other hand, that's like trying to paddle upstream against the current. It's going to take some serious energy to make that happen, to force things to go where they wouldn't naturally go. And when we talk about active transport, there is one undisputed superstar, the sodium-potassium pump. This is a tiny little machine built right into your cell walls, and it works nonstop, 24/7. Get this, and this is an amazing fact. This little pump is so busy, it can use up to a third of your body's total energy when you're just sitting there, resting. It burns that energy, called ATP, to constantly push sodium out of the cell and pull potassium in. And why? Because that process is absolutely critical for every single nerve impulse and every muscle twitch in your body. Okay, so that's the hard work. On the other side, you've got passive transport, the going with the flow method. You've got diffusion, which is just particles spreading out, like when you put a drop of food coloring in a glass of water. And then you have osmosis, which is super important for our story today. Osmosis is specifically about the movement of water. And water always, always moves toward the area that has more stuff dissolved in it. Remember that. And the best part? No energy needed from the cell. It just happens. Right, so with all this stuff constantly moving back and forth, you've got to have a control system, right? Someone in charge to make sure it all stays in perfect harmony. So let's meet the two main managers of your body's entire fluid balancing operation. Introducing the dynamic duo, a hormone called antidiuretic hormone, or ADH, and your kidneys. Think of ADH as the messenger, flying around the body carrying urgent instructions. And the kidneys? They're the powerful workers on the ground, the master filtration plant that actually carries out those orders. They're the ones who decide what your body keeps and what it gets rid of. Here's how it works. When your body starts to sense, hey, we're getting a little dehydrated here, your brain releases more ADH. That hormone messenger zips down to the kidneys with a very clear message. Code red, we're low on water. Hold on to every last drop. The kidneys, being the good workers they are, obey immediately. They start reabsorbing more water back into the blood. And the result for you? You produce less pee, and the pee you do produce is darker, more concentrated. It's just a beautiful, efficient water-saving system. Okay, so that's the theory. Now, let's bring this into the real world. How does all this science apply to something we've all seen or heard of? An IV drip. Well, when the body's balance gets so out of whack that it can't fix itself, we can step in. We use this exact knowledge of osmosis and concentration to manually, carefully restore that balance. First up, we have what's called an isotonic solution. That prefix iso means same, and that's the key. This fluid has the exact same concentration of particles as your own blood. So you could say it's perfectly balanced right out of the bag. And because it's so perfectly balanced, giving someone an isotonic solution doesn't cause any big fluid shifts. Your cells don't swell up, they don't shrink down. The fluid just kind of stays where you put it, in the extracellular space, mostly in your blood vessels. Its job is to quickly boost your overall fluid volume. This makes it the go-to solution for something like general dehydration, maybe if you've got a bad case of the flu. All right, next up is a hypotonic solution. Hypo means low, so this fluid has a lower concentration of particles. You can just think of it as being more watery than your blood. And remember that rule of osmosis we talked about? Water always moves to the area with more stuff. So when you put this more watery solution into the bloodstream, where does the water go? It rushes out of the blood and into your body cells because they're more concentrated. This makes the cells swell up, rehydrating them from the inside out. This is what you'd use for a specific problem called cellular dehydration. And finally, we've got the opposite, a hypertonic solution. Hyper means high. This stuff is packed with way more particles. It's much, much more concentrated than your blood. So, as you can probably guess, this does the exact opposite. When this super concentrated fluid hits the bloodstream, it acts like a powerful magnet for water. It pulls water out of the body's cells and tissues, causing them to shrink. Now, this is a very specialized tool. You use it in really critical situations, like when you need to reduce dangerous swelling in the brain. It literally pulls that excess fluid out of the brain tissue and into the bloodstream so it can be carried away. So this little table here really sums it all up. Isotonic, iso means same, so cells stay the same. Hypotonic, hypo is low, so water goes in and cells swell. Hypertonic, hyper is high, so water comes out and cells shrink. It's all about where osmosis tells the water to go. Simple as that. And if you want the absolute best trick to remember this forever, here it is. Iso means same, so everything just stays put. For hypo, think of a big, swollen hippo, so the cells swell up. And for hyper, think of a hyperactive kid running all over the place, getting all skinny and shrunken, so the cells shrink. You'll never forget it now. You know, when you step back and look at it, it's pretty amazing. From the tiny, energy-burning sodium-potassium pump in a single cell, all the way up to the massive hormonal control system run by your brain, this whole operation is built on one single, non-negotiable principle: balance. That perfect state of equilibrium has a name. It's called homeostasis. And it is, quite simply, what keeps us alive. So your body is working tirelessly every single second of every day to maintain this perfect fluid balance, which really leaves us with one final question, right? What can you do in your own life, with what you drink, what you eat, to help this incredible life-sustaining system do its job? That's definitely something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.